Do you ever avoid doing things by yourself because you feel lonely or awkward or embarrassed? If so, I've got something to share with you today. I'm Mary, and today we're going to talk about going out and living your life right now, even if you're single. I read an article one day where a woman was saying that she went to a movie theater by herself and she was wondering if the other people were looking at her like she was some kind of dateless freak. And what she realized by the time she left was that nobody was paying attention and nobody cared. And she figured out that she kind of liked being by herself because she didn't have to worry about entertaining the other person or explaining something to them that they didn't hear or they didn't understand. She could just sit there and enjoy the movie. And then later that day, I read a social media post from a man who said that he really hates going to the movies with his wife because she talks the whole time. I really hope she didn't see that post. I live in a small southern town, and one night I was at a party and I was speaking to a woman who's married to a friend of mine and told her that I had recently gone to Cancun, Mexico. And she said, "Oh, who did you go with?" And I said, "No one, I went by myself." And she said, "I would never do that." And in the moment, it hurt my feelings and I took it as being judgmental. But later on, when I thought about it, I realized that she meant exactly what she had said. She would never do that. I've never seen her go anywhere alone. I've never seen her without her husband or her friends or her family. And so I think that what she meant was I would never go do anything like that alone. Sometimes when I go to events or when I'm telling my friends about the events that I've been to, they'll say that I'm brave. They'll use that word brave to describe me because I'm going out and doing things alone, like I'm going on a trip, or I go to the opera, or I travel to a larger town and see some sort of performance or attend an event. And I guess I don't really think of it so much as being brave as I got to the point where I said, well, I can sit home alone or I can go do things alone. And I decided I wanted to live life, so I go do things alone. Now, if you feel a little bit freaked out by going and doing things alone, I just want you to know that's totally normal and there's nothing wrong with you. And depending on where you live and what you feel comfortable doing, maybe going out to everything by yourself isn't for you. I'll explain that in a moment. First of all, you have to decide what you are willing to do. Now, for me, I will go to pretty much anything by myself. I enjoy going to the symphony, the opera. I'm a nerd. Local theater productions, musical events, charity events. Pretty much the only thing I don't want to go to by myself is a black tie event. Now, if it's a black tie charity event, sometimes I will, because there are going to be a lot of people there, singles and couples, for a good cause. But if it's an event that's black tie where it's generally expected that you bring a date, then I don't go to those by myself, just because to me it's like going to prom without a date. And I understand, maybe especially today, the younger kids, they'll go to prom in a group or something, but that's probably the one time I won't go do something by myself. Now, sometimes it's good to have a guy friend that you're just friends with that can go do these things with you, and then sometimes he might need a date. And it's nice to have one. I think in my grandma's day, they used to call someone like that a walker, because it was someone you could walk into a party with and you could be there for him, he could be there for you. It was a completely platonic friendship that you could go out and do things together without the pressure of a date. I do say you need to be safe, of course. And so for me personally, when I'm going somewhere by myself, I make sure that I'm going to a safe part of town. I park in a place that's well lit. If it's an event or a facility that has valet parking, I'll frequently use that. Sometimes I'll use a ride share to just drop me off at the front door. If I'm traveling, I stay in a reputable hotel. I stay very aware of my surroundings. I don't share personal information. And I stay very aware of who and what is going on around me. Now, if this feels kind of overwhelming to you and you think, well, I'd love to be able to go do stuff, but I don't even know where to start. Here are some ideas for what might be some good ways for you to start doing things by yourself. Now, why would you even consider doing things alone? One time, I was going to go to the basketball game at the local university. One of my girlfriends was supposed to go with me and she canceled. And I was like, well, I'll just go by myself. So I went, and one of the coaches came over and talked, not the basketball coach, he was busy, but one of the other coaches came over. He saw me by myself and he was like, hey, I want to talk to you. I want to set you up with my brother. And he never would have done that if my girlfriend had been sitting right next to me. And there have been many times where I've gone to do things by myself, and either I've met someone or people have felt comfortable coming up to me even to set me up with somebody else. So if you're thinking you might be willing to go do some things by yourself, here's some ideas to get you started. Number one, you could go to a movie, like an actual movie theater. I know a lot of people don't go to theaters anymore, which actually can work to your advantage because there aren't as many people there. And I think for the most part, first of all, half the time when you walk into the theater before the movie starts, everybody's on their phone. They don't even notice you. Usually they're talking to somebody else. If you walk in by yourself and sit down, usually people forget about that, or they assume you're waiting for somebody. And I like going to the movies alone because I don't have to talk to another person. I can just sit there, I can listen and pay attention. And when the movie is over, if I want to sit through all the credits, I can. If I want to get up and leave, I can do that too. Go to a play or a symphony. Now, I'm a nerd. I love all that stuff, but it's the same idea as the movie. I mean, once you're sitting down and they bring down the house lights, nobody can see you. Also, they've paid good money to go see the event. They're not there to look at you. So most people really don't pay attention if you're somewhere by yourself. Another thing I don't always do very often is go out to eat by myself. I think today with all of the food delivery options that we have, if you really want something from a particular restaurant, you can have it brought to your home. But when I'm traveling, sometimes I like to go out to restaurants to eat. And it doesn't bother me to sit by myself at a restaurant, but if you feel kind of weird about it, you can always sit at the bar. Now, I don't drink, but sometimes I sit at the bar because you get better service and you don't feel weird being there by yourself. People assume that you're there on business, or maybe you're meeting somebody, and it just feels very safe and kind of a little bit more social. For a long time, I just wanted to have a husband, and I still would love to have a relationship. But I got to the point where I said, well, I mean, I'm over 40 and the singleness isn't changing. And what am I going to do? Now, for many years, I just stayed miserable. But then when I was tired of being miserable, I realized that I needed to have a life I could enjoy whether or not I stayed single. And that's what I call One-Derful life. It's not about getting to a place where you say like, I don't need a man. I don't want a man because I want a man. But it's getting to a place where you've created a life that you love and where you're happy and you have peace. In John 10:10, Jesus said, I came that you may have and enjoy your life and have it in abundance to the full until it overflows. And I realized that if I was waiting to have a man in my life in order for my life to start, what if that didn't happen? And the important thing with having a life that you love is when you're happy and you're enjoying life and you have a sense of peace, that makes you attractive. Like you're attractive. People like to be around that. No man is looking for a woman who's depressed and bitter and has given up on life. Men like women who are happy and fun. So if you're already happy and you're having fun, that's very attractive. Now, what if you're happy and fun and your Mr. Right doesn't show up? Well, you're happy anyway, and that's what you wanted the whole time. Now, if you're struggling with loneliness, I put a free teaching beneath this video, and it's how to overcome loneliness. And I think it will really help you and bless you. And I just want to thank you for joining me today. I hope this has helped, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.